Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm doing a podcast with Fishing with ND.
What's up, guys?
And we're going to start with sports of the week, and then we're going to go to hunting, fishing, and then we'll throw in some trivia at the end. So stay tuned. So Nolan's going to take it away with sports.
On Friday night, Wisconsin beat number 9th ranked Arizona 103-88 in men's basketball. John Tonje, the starting guard for the Wisconsin Badgers, scored 41 points.
That's pretty good.
And Jaden Bradley on Arizona scored 22 points. At halftime, Wisconsin was off 55-44, and Wisconsin just kept that lead throughout the whole game and won 103-88. There was a court storm in Madison. Then the next day, Wisconsin football hosted the number 1 team, Oregon, in a huge matchup for Wisconsin and a huge matchup for Oregon. For Oregon, if they could win, they would keep being undefeated. If Wisconsin won, this could push to be a Big Ten, to be in a race for a Big Ten championship area or a bowl game. Well, Locke did not. The passing game, the throw game was not that good for Locke yesterday. Only for 12 for 28, 96 yards and a touchdown and an interception. Really, he did not play really good last night. Dylan Gabriel, on the other hand, 22 for 31, 218 yards and an interception. The throw game last night wasn't that great, but the run game was. Tyree Walker with 97 yards last night with 20 rushes. And Jordan James, probably the MVP of the game for Oregon, 121 yards and a touchdown. To start the game, Oregon went up 3 and then extended their lead by 6. The Badger defense played pretty good throughout the game for them, only holding them to 6 in the first quarter. Then Wisconsin had a good drive, pushing down the field and actually throwing the ball well and running the ball well with Tyree Walker, made it 6-3. Then Wisconsin got a couple stops and got the ball back and was on the 1-yard line with around 20 seconds to go and threw a screen pass to Will Pauling for a 1-yard touchdown to take the lead going into half. Camp Randall was explosive going into halftime as they thought they could have a chance of winning.
That's why they call it the number 1 fan base in college football.
One of the best fan bases in college football. Then Wisconsin got a couple stops as Oregon got the ball to open up the second half. They got a couple stops. Wisconsin went down the field and scored a field goal, up 13-6. Could have been a touchdown, but a legal man downfield stopped them from a touchdown. But it's okay, they scored a field goal. Then it got another stop. Wisconsin then went out on a 3-and-out. Oregon went down the field at the start of the fourth quarter and had a touchdown from Jordan James for a touchdown to tie the game up at 13. Wisconsin had it on third and long, but a chop block held them back. Oregon then got the ball back and went for 3 and got it. Now Wisconsin got the ball back again after the field goal, had to go down and score. There was about 2 minutes to go. Wisconsin turned the ball over on 4th down. Oregon got a 3-and-out, and on 4th down they were lined up for a field goal at about Wisconsin's 20-yard line. Decided to fake it on 4th and 6 and did not get it. Pretty risky call there, and Wisconsin got the ball back. But it ended up not doing much because the next play, Braden Locke's pass got tipped, and he threw it right into the hands of an Oregon defender. Oregon won 16-13.
Pretty sad game for Wisconsin fans, I would say. For sure, I had some hope in the Badgers, but would have meant a lot to beat the number 1 team in college football.
Yeah, they were in that for the whole game. I mean, just like the Penn State game, they're in for that for at least 3 quarters and then just let it go. I mean, that's something Fickle and Longo and Tressel's got to work on, especially Tressel on his defense. But, I mean, the defense doesn't get as much breaks as they usually do because of that offense. A lot of 3-and-outs, and they got to work on that. And then, especially for the offense, you got to keep coming up. You got to work on coming out strong and not. That whole first quarter, it was really sloppy for the Badgers. I mean, I saw like the first 3 drives, they got 9 yards in total. Mm-hmm. Or they had 9 plays for like -2 yards.
Yeah.
So there was not a great first quarter for them. And if that first quarter, we maybe win a little bit better, like a field goal or a touchdown, we could be talking differently and sitting here differently today. Then today, Packers and Bears, the good old rivalry. Love threw for 13 for 17, 1 touchdown and 1 interception, 261 yards. Caleb Williams, the rookie out of USC, threw for 23 for 31, 231 yards. Packers drove down the field right away and went up 7-0 after a Jordan Love dot to Jalen Reed in the end zone. 7-0 Packers. Then the Bears went down the field and got a field goal. Then a lot of back and forth punting, and then till the final minutes of the first half, when Caleb Williams put a drive together and got down to the 1 yard line, and on 3rd and goal with about 10 seconds to go, they run it in. The Bears go into the half up 10-7. Bears then extend their lead with a field goal. It's 13-7. The Packers then respond with a touchdown. Then the Bears go down and score with Devontae Swift a touchdown. It's 19-14. Packers then go down the field and Jacobs goes on the field and scores a touchdown. 20-19, the Packers did not get the 2-point conversion. Caleb Williams on a 4th and 8 completes it to Ruma Dunze to get it up to the 50-yard line, and then to Caleb Williams to get it down to around the 30. Then the Bears had a chance to win the game with about a 46-yard kick, but the kick is blocked, and the Packers win the game of a blocked field goal.
I was pretty disappointed that the game had to end like that. Got me on my toes a little bit.
Should have been an easier win for the Packers.
But I mean,
a win is a win.
Yep. And it's 11 games in a row that the Packers have beat the Bears, and I'm a proud Packers fan just to know that the Bears didn't beat the Packers.
And that will wrap up our sports of the week. Also, another sport of the week, Marquette beat Maryland on Friday night by 4. So that will also be...
Yeah.
So that's the sports of the week. We'll come back with you at the end of the thing and tell you what sports are happening this week.
Yep. And now we're going to move into hunting. So to our next segment for today's podcast, we're going to be talking about deer hunting and some duck hunting and turkey hunting. So the first thing I want to say is deer hunting is
right around the corner for gun.
Yeah, gun hunting in Wisconsin starts on Saturday, and I'm pumped. Got some nice bucks on camera, washing up all my gear, getting stands ready, everything like that. Seen a couple deer bow hunting, my uncles have, and I'm excited. And
then also duck hunting is ending this week, which is pretty sad. It was a good year for duck hunting this year. But, I mean, you can look forward to next year. But pheasant hunting is now starting up and going to last through this whole winter. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And the other thing was I've been doing some fall turkey hunting, actually. And I sat for a weekend, didn't really see or hear much, but I'm hoping to start back up after deer season. Well, gun hunting at least, and hopefully get on a couple turkeys this year. And I think the first thing I wanted to talk about with deer hunting was
the gun.
Yeah. So the gun I'm going to be using this year is a 243 made from Browning, and it's like a youth version, so it's a little bit smaller gun, but that thing I shot my deer with it last year. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, there's a picture of it up there. Not a big buck, but I was proud. My first deer. It was a really, really fun experience. And yeah. And Nolan got a gun for Christmas this year. And
I'm going to be using a 308. Pretty cool. First year using it, I've gotten some practice with it in ranges. Really nice gun. Gotta say, it'll be fun to use it this year. I'll take it back to let Hudson carry it off.
Yeah. So I'm this year, this summer, me and my uncles and my cousin recently built a wooden box blind. Well, box stand, I guess. It sits at about 12 feet in the air from the bottom of the platform, and it's really nice. It blocks the wind very well. Our land isn't set up it's not field, so you can't really do like I guess a legit box blind, like
one of the tall ones.
Yeah, a redneck one or something like that. We do have some ladder stands. We're hoping to use the new box blinds because they're nice and keep you out of the wind better. And so I'm excited to use that, and I'm hunting on private land, which I did last year too. It's family owned by my uncles and my parents, and Nolan's going to talk about what he's using and where he's hunting.
So yeah, like I said, I'm using 308. I don't have private land, unfortunately, so I have to land public land, which is a lot harder than private land, and he knows
Yeah.
that. I mean, everybody knows that because A, people, and B, just the deer know better not to do that. But I looked at the forecast for this weekend, and it looks like, at least in northern Wisconsin, we're going to get snow this week. So there's a good chance you'll see snow in some areas of Wisconsin during deer hunting. And it's going to be pretty cold. It's going to be in the 40s and 30s, 50s, 30, 40s. So it's going to be a little colder than last year because last year was really warm. I mean, warmer than usual, and no snow. So it's going to be a little different this year. We'll see how the deer will play it, and yeah.
Yeah, so you can definitely see a difference. I mean, obviously, he's hunting public land. He's using a ground blind, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. And so we're kind of going to be able to tell, like, the difference. Obviously, last year, I don't think you saw as much, and
I saw one deer last year.
yeah,
And it was
one
about
deer
300
last year.
yards away. So I mean,
And we'll see this year. Maybe this year will be different. And
we're doing new public land this year, so we'll see how
yeah,
this is.
I'm really hoping he gets on a deer. It would be really cool. I am just lucky that my family owns private land. I know a lot of people don't own private land, and I'm very thankful to be able to have the experiences that I do with private land for hunting and so many other things that I wouldn't be able to do without private land. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just really looking forward to it. It's one of the things I look forward to all year round. And yeah, I mean, it's really fun, and I hope everyone else watching gets to have these experiences because they're definitely worth it.
In
Like,
the comments, say what do you hunt on, private or public, or if you just don't hunt at all.
yeah. And I would really, I know some people obviously don't have the option to, but I would really like most people don't want to hunt because like field dressing the deer, but I would say once you do it a couple times, it don't become as bad, and the other stuff that is great about it like distracts you from it, and it's just a really enjoyable time. And
Especially if you have like family hunting
yeah,
with you
yep,
or friends. It's a
yeah.
heck of a time.
Like I hunt with my uncles and my cousin, and just not only being able to hunt and look and love God's creation of nature and everything, but being able to spend time with family and friends and just enjoy those experiences because you're not going to always have them. And some of the people you hunt with aren't always going to be with you. So
Make it
you just got to
last.
really appreciate those things and cherish those things.
Yeah.
Okay, so next we're going to move on to fishing, and we'll see
Venison of the
you.
week.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So I want to share a recipe that I made with venison because all my venison meal ideas I found off of social media, and actually, this is probably the one I make the most.
So every single podcast will have either a venison or a pheasant, duck, something of a
Fish,
recipe.
yeah.
Fish, whatever we decide to do this year. This week it's gonna be venison, so we'll say venison of the week.
Yep.
Next week it might be pheasant of the week or something like that. So
Yeah.
we'll see how this week will be venison, and we'll let him take over since he's shot a deer before I haven't. I mean, so let's have him take it away.
So this meal I've made a couple times. I just call it venison sliders. So I made it when I was with him, when I was ice fishing with him. It was really good. So it's you. I guess so. I usually to feed about 4, 5, 6 people in total. I have 3 pounds of meat. So sorry. I'll do 1 pound of venison or 2 pounds of venison, and then 1 or 2 pounds of ground beef, and I'll mix those together, and then I'll put the meat in a pan, and I will I'll make it grounded up, and I buy King's Hawaiian rolls, and I lay those out on a pan, the bottom halves. I pour the meat over, put some cheese on it, and the top of the rolls. Throw it in the oven for about 15 minutes ish to like toast the cheese in the bun, because your meat's already cooked because you cooked in a pan, and those things turn out great.
They're good.
Yeah,
They
they are
really-
messy.
I
And if
recommend it.
yeah,
Recommend it.
and if you want to spice them up a little bit, you can put some pickles on there,
Ooh.
and or I've tried Chipotle mayo. That was good.
Mhm.
And I would really recommend you trying it.
Yeah.
And if you want to find more information
Yeah,
on
try it out, guys.
proportions and stuff like that, just DM me. You can DM me on Instagram or
Oh, and if you shoot a buck this week,
yes,
year,
yes,
DM
please.
that. We'll put it in the description for you.
Yes, we'll give you a shout out.
We'll put on the podcast next time you're
Yes,
back.
we'll shout you out. Send in a picture. We'll put you up on the screen. And just say anything in the comments. I mean, don't say anything, but like let us know if you shoot a deer. If you want more, turkey, ducks, pheasants, anything. Send us pictures, and if you want more information on the venison recipe, then let me know.
Yeah.
So next we're gonna move into fishing.
Breaking news in the sports world. This is happening just now. Wisconsin has announced that Wisconsin has fired offensive coordinator Phil Longo from the program. This is going to cause a lot of decommitted people. I wonder how this is going to go for the recruiting. I wonder who you're going to hire. This is interesting. As a Wisconsin fan, for me, who do you think we're going to hire? And this is, I'm not surprised. Our offense played terrible. Our offense has not been great this year. It's never really been great. But I didn't think it was going to be this early in the season. It's not early in the season, but I thought they would wait till the end of the season just to see how it would play out. But they do not care, as in this quote. It says, Coach Fickle announces coaching change, and it says, offensive coordinator Phil Longo has been fired. Wow.
Yeah, definitely a shock. We were literally just ending that part of the podcast and just got the notification that this happened. And yeah,
it's not really a big shock, but I just didn't think it would happen
this quick.
Yeah, this quick. But yeah, we'll come back to you when we're done.
And fishing is
next.
So we're back, obviously, after the incident with the Badgers. We are just gonna be talking a little bit about how our
fishing season went.
Yeah, how it went this year.
Ice fishing season's coming up.
Yeah. So Nolan has a pretty big one that happened this year.
Well, I caught my first muskie.
Yeah.
And caught it while smallmouth fishing. We were on a 2 feet little. The smallmouth. This lake that I have my cabin on. There's a small little area where it's 2 feet and rocky and seaweed. There's a drop off, and it's really shallow. But there's pike, smallmouth, walleye, muskie, all in this area. And I had a muskie on. I caught 3 pike that day. I had a muskie on before it got off. It's about 9:30, and we're just about to head in because it's kind of past the time for walleye. We're pretty much walleye and smallmouth fishermen. We will target muskie once in a while. But I have 10-pound line fluoro on, and I have a Guggen jerk plate, the Scout Junior. I'm reeling it in, and I finally get to the boat, and out of nowhere, a 38-inch muskie comes out of nowhere and eats my lure, and it takes me on a full ride. 5 minutes of just fighting, and then I finally get it in with a smallmouth net, which, I wish I had a giant muskie net because I know, it's not really good for the fish, but I didn't want to have the fish have that lure in its mouth for the rest of the time, so I just had to get in. The fish went off cliff. The fish went off fine. It was a good release. The fish was fine. We followed it around for 15 minutes or 5 minutes, just 5 to 15 minutes, just to make sure it was good, and then we went back. It was a heck of a fight. It was one of the best fights with the fish I've ever had. 10 out of 10 experience and something I liked. What? It was a good year fishing for me. Not walleye. The walleye kind of died this year. Last year, the walleye for me in the summer was really good. This year kind of died, but the smallmouth fishing was pretty good this year. And the crappie fishing later on in the year was really good. Smallmouth fishing this fall has been all right. I've caught a couple 2-pounders. He caught a 5 with me.
Yeah.
But it's been all right. I also caught the state record red horse, which is pretty cool. I didn't certify it because it was really laid out and I didn't feel like calling a state warden.
Hmm.
But it was a fun fight, and yeah, we'll let Hudson carry it away.
Yeah, so once again, I caught a nice smallmouth. Nothing crazy this year, no like muskie or anything, but caught my first couple pike. I caught a couple nice walleye this summer on Castle Rock Lake, right by where I hunt, and yeah, once again, nothing crazy, but I'm hoping that this year's ice season is good and there's plenty of ice
Yeah, that's
because
going to be a worry
yeah,
this year is how much ice will there be. Last year, until later January in Wisconsin, we only had 4 to 7 inches. In some areas, I mean, I remember in December on my lake, we had 4 inches, and we were scared because last year in December, we had like 13 inches in early, before Christmas. 13 inches. People
yeah,
were driving cars in. And then this year, to have that shock, I mean, it got down to 3.5 at one point. Thank God it froze up again and got into the like 20s. But it was still a scare. And then even our lake, the ice lasts till what? I mean, like like Easter time. This year it only lasted till like I don't know, like later March, which was pretty weird. And there was openings in the water, which is in the ice, which is pretty scary, which was not normal. We had a decent
yeah.
ice fishing season with perch and bluegill. We had a couple pike on this year to get them to always snap their line. We had two pike
Hmm.
on, one that got to it, then lost, then we lost. Just got off the hooks, and the other one got to the hole and snapped our line, which is pretty sad. But on my lake, nobody really had that much of great luck this year. Talking to other anglers, so I mean, it wasn't a great ice fishing season. At least we're in upper northern Wisconsin.
Yeah, and I would say it definitely sucks as someone owning a lake house because you're kind of one of the things you're relying on for most people is definitely ice fishing and when
In the winter, because
yeah,
I mean, besides snowboarding and ice skating, that's all I do up in the winter. So
yeah.
I mean,
So
ice
it's
fishing is
definitely
basically
sucky for the people who
have no ice there.
yeah,
And I know in Winnebago, it was the sturgeon spearing wasn't really good this year
yeah,
because of the
yep,
ice, and people were scared of it. And I know some
mhm,
areas didn't want to do it. So I mean, that's going to be a big factor this year is how much ice will there be. And I'm
yeah,
hoping there'll be a lot because if there's a lot, then we'll be able to ice fish a lot.
yeah. The other thing we wanted to talk about going off of ice fishing is for
Tip ups.
yeah, tip
Some of the
ups.
best tip up brands. We'll just start with the number one, Beaver Dam tip ups.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
they're the king of tip ups, I would say.
Yep.
They're not a bad. That's my favorite tip up out there. I think it's yours too.
Yeah. I love Beaver Dam tip
What's your
up.
other one that you have?
I also like Clam makes a tip up that goes all the way over the hole, so when it's really cold, it kind of insulates it
Yeah,
and doesn't
and you don't need to buy
freeze
those
up.
hole
Yeah.
covers.
Yep. But yeah, Beaver Dams are
And then
definitely my favorite.
another one that's not really tip up, but I like it a lot is the iFish Pros. The
Yes.
only
Yep.
problem with it is that they do take up another rod, but they're really nice. Not having to pull the line up, instead you can actually reel it with the line, and you can set your depth a lot easier and stuff like that. I like iFish Pros,
Yeah.
and they're a decent tip up that I like. But yeah,
And the other thing I would say that's really nice about ice fishing is for people who don't want to spend as much money and still get nice gear, you can buy a really nice ice fishing rod for like anywhere from like 35 to maybe $70. Like I think all my rods were yeah,
I remember last year, yeah, I was going on an ice fishing trip with him. I got $100 bill for my birthday, or from I don't know from where, for some of my relatives,
yeah.
or not my relatives, like my aunt and uncle, and they sent it in through mail. First thing I did with it is I went to Farm and Fleet and bought like a $80 rod and reel. My parents were not happy about it. You
Yeah.
remember that?
Yep. But
It worked well though. I mean,
yeah,
can't
and
complain.
some of those things like you're going to have for a very long time and they're they're not going to fail on you, I guess.
Just you
You
hope
you
so.
still got to be careful. I would
Be
say
careful on the ice though. If it's lower than 4 inches, don't go on it
yeah.
because safety's first. Don't risk your life to catch a stupid fish.
Yeah.
Nothing is worth your life.
Hey, if there's no ice, you can just take the boat out. It may be 30 degrees, but
Catch fish. Don't go on the ice when it's
yeah, please
1 to
don't.
2 to 3 inches, because
Yeah.
especially, and if it's lower than 12, don't bring a car or an
Yeah,
ATV.
for
out.
sure. And the other thing I want to say, building off of like the rods and tip ups, is that like I would say my one go-to brand for buying those things is Clam. I like Clams.
Beaver-
13 Fishing
13's a really good one.
for rods and reels.
Beaver Dam's a good tip up one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The one brand I would avoid, I don't know the exact name of it. It's like HT Enterprise or something. And I just found that they were not very high quality. If that's all you can get, they're not bad. It's just they won't last as long as you're like. I have a clam rod that's lasted me 4 years, and I've had no problems. Yeah.
But let's go through some of our favorite lures when it comes
Yes.
to it. So for me, there's a couple nice lures. A rattle bait is kind of nice. I've had a couple
For
bites
ice
for
fishing.
ice fishing.
Yeah.
A little jig and waxy will get it done.
Mhm.
We'll get it done with for perch and bluegill and crappie. But yeah. So what is yours? Some of yours?
I would say definitely like my go-to when I'm jigging is definitely like just little jigs. I usually we have a bait shop near my cabin, and some of them you'll just find them and go in, and there's like tables, and they're all
Random
different
jig
types
head.
of little jig heads, but they're all like really, really good, and you can just fill up your bag. And
That's the cool thing about northern
Yeah.
Wisconsin shops is you don't know what brand they are, but they just have them out. You can go pick
And they
them
work
up, and
well.
they work well.
And yeah,
What's your preferred favorite like minnows for tip ups?
it depends what I'm fishing for. If
When I
I'm
use for pike and walleye, I usually use suckers.
yeah,
Usually suckers. For bass, you can use anything pretty
Yeah.
much for bass.
I
And
would
then for perch,
say
crappie minnows are the best.
Yeah.
Crappie minnows are the best for perch, crappie, and bluegills.
Mhm.
And then for muskie, probably suckers as well. But
Yeah.
early fall is when you're gonna catch the pike and muskie with suckers, because that's
Yeah.
when late fall, early ice, in late fall when there's still water, kind of fall, muskies and pike love suckers, and if you're a muskie fisherman, you probably know that, or you have a lure and you have a sucker to the left or to the outside of your boat, and you get the muskie to come to your boat, and then they eat your sucker, and then you have a fish on. So
Yeah.
I know that's a strat. So suckers in early fall, early ice will usually work.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
I don't think so. I think
Yeah.
we're good. So now
I
we
think
have
we're
trivia.
gonna head to trivia next.
All right, we'll see
be
you
right back.
guys next. All right, and to one of our last segments into our podcast, we'll be doing trivia. This week, I do 2 trivia questions to him. Next week, he does 2 questions to me. One of the questions is regarding sports of Wisconsin. The other one is regarding fishing, hunting, or something like that. My first question for you, Hudson.
Okay.
What year did the Bucks win the NBA championship?
I know it's not 2024, 2023. I'm gonna say 2021.
On the money, you got it.
Sir.
All right. Well, and we're also gonna do records. So he's 1 for 0, 1 right now. And the last one is, what is the best lake for smallmouth in Wisconsin?
I'm gonna say Turtle Flambeau.
It's Pelican Lake. Shoot. All right, that is our trivia of the week. We'll hit you back for our last segment regarding sports this week, and then we'll have our conclusion. So we'll see you guys in sports.
Yep.
All right, and our last segment of the day is sports coming in this week. We'll start with Wisconsin basketball as they play UT Rio Grande at home.
Yep.
And then Wisconsin football this weekend during deer hunting weekend.
Yep.
We'll play Nebraska at 2:30. And the Wisconsin Rio Grande game is at 7 o'clock tomorrow on BTN. Packers 49ers this next Sunday. That'll be an interesting game.
Yep.
We'll see how Jordan Love plays and how the 49ers can respond with
Hopefully
Chris
better than
McCaffrey
tonight.
Yeah. Then Purdue will visit Marquette. in a huge game down there. We're 13 versus 14. We'll see Purdue just coming off a win versus Alabama, so they are on a hot streak, and Marquette winning versus Maryland. And our last game this week, well, one of our last games this week is the Bucks versus the Rockets. So that'll be an interesting game as the Bucks came off a loss versus the Charlotte Hornets, which some people think was not a good call because LaMelo Ball got fouled, which put him at the free throw line, which some people say it was not a great call. But we'll see how the Bucks respond as they're right back actually in the playoff race. All right, our last segment of the day is sports coming this week. We'll start with Wisconsin men's basketball as they play UT Rio Grande at 7 o'clock tomorrow, Monday. I don't know when this video will come out, but this is Monday, and Monday at 7 o'clock on BTN. Wisconsin football will play in Nebraska on Saturday at 2:30. Packers versus 49ers this week on Sunday. That will be an interesting game. We'll see how the Packers can respond after a really sloppy win this week. And the 49ers have Christian McCaffrey back. And then Purdue versus Marquette, which is going to be a huge game this week for both teams. Purdue coming off a huge win versus the number 2 ranked Alabama at home, beating them by around 7. Marquette also coming off a huge win at Maryland by 4. So this will be the 13th seed, the 13th ranked versus the 14th ranked. So we'll see how these two teams will play. And then the last game that's coming up is Bucks versus Rockets. That'll be a good game. Bucks coming off a controversial loss to the Charlotte Hornets and this in-season tournament because Giannis apparently fouled LaMelo Ball.
Yeah.
Fans did not like it. I'm not gonna comment about it. But Charlotte ended up winning by 1. So yeah, and that's the end of the sports.
Yep. So we're gonna jump to the conclusion.
Not ready yet.
Okay, so thanks guys for
Thank you,
tuning
guys.
in. Yeah, thanks for tuning into the podcast.
Like I said, if you need to ask questions about the recipe or send a buck, a pheasant, a duck, a goose,
yeah.
anything, or turkey, we'll put his Instagram in the description. DM him and show him the picture. You guys will be in the back here, and we'll put you guys in the back, which will be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. And good luck to any of you deer hunters. Yes, so
good luck this week.
Yeah.
I mean, some people are already deer hunting, but for the people who gun hunt
in Wisconsin.
Good luck this week. Good luck. Make sure to subscribe and like to make sure we keep.
And also go like and subscribe to Fishing with Andy, his channel. And we are hoping to maybe try next week
after deer hunting, which is gonna be hard.
It's gonna be hard because we're gonna be busy with that, but we're hoping to we're hoping to maybe do a Zoom or a Google Meet and do a little podcast and post on here. But if we don't, we'll try to follow up.
We'll put something on our page saying that this week will be canceled or this week we can't do it.
And then we'll be back. We'll be back the week after Thanksgiving. And
for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so
thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.